Thank you back there.
Welcome back to the Cover 2 presented by Tigervision. This is Grayson Mann. I am Patrick Neal. It feels good to be back. It feels electric. There is a vibe in this in this little studio here that we got.
This is our kickoff, basically.
Yeah, it is great to be back. We are excited. Yeah, I mean, this is episode 30, so hit another milestone right there. You know, another year, another season of football awaits.
That's right. Super excited about this. We're going to do our NFL prediction show. We got I think we only have about 9 days till the start of kickoff.
Something like that.
September. My math's terrible, so at some point we'll get to it.
Okay.
But the Rams and the Bills on Thursday, September 8th, it's going to be a heck of a kickoff for sure. That's something that I'm excited to see. Hopefully it'll compare to the Cowboys and the Bucks from last year, which was super fun to watch. But yeah, we're going to do our division winners. We're going to do our playoff order. I'm going to yell at Patrick a little bit for a certain pick that he has, but we'll have a good time.
Yeah, and also just to let y'all know this season, we're probably going to be doing a bit more NFL coverage. Nothing against college football, but it's probably just going to be a little bit more NFL based. So, you know, get ready. Should still be a fantastic time.
Yeah, we'll drop in a reference or two if something funny happens. Like, I mean, it'd be a darn shame if I didn't mention that onside kick. But,
yeah, that's tough for Coach Frost there.
Yeah.
But, you know, Nebraska's gonna Nebraska. Anyways, do we want to start in the AFC North?
Let's do that.
Potentially the toughest division. I mean, we'll talk about the AFC West, but this might also be one of the toughest divisions.
Yeah, I think this one kind of flew under the radar because you have 4 teams, and you say what you want about the Browns. We're not gonna dive into the Sean Hole thing, but they still have a pretty solid roster. I think Jacoby Brissett can do a lot of things, but you want to go first on your order? Or do you want me to go? How do you want to play this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. And I think it's a toss-up. I mean, this is a very, very deep division.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's kind of a toss-up between the Ravens and the Bengals for who wins it. I got the Steelers third. I got the Browns fourth. Honestly, like, it was very hard for me. I think the Ravens are going to bounce back tremendously. I think they were so injured last year. I think Lamar is going to be very, very good this year. I think potentially he's an MVP candidate again. It's just, you know, I kind of got to pick the Bengals as a Bengals fan.
You got. I can't fault you.
I really want to pick the. I'm gonna go with the Bengals at 1. I think they got a really tough schedule ahead of them, so that could be an issue. You know, there might be some positive regression, I guess, a little bit back to, like, they became the most explosive offense last year after being one of the worst the year before. But it is another year of Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, with Tyler Boyd, with Joe Mixon, an improved offensive line. Hopefully that left guard spot is worked out because that's been a bit of an issue in the preseason. But I think I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I'm gonna be a bit of a homer, I guess.
I think they were a little ahead of schedule last year in terms of their Super Bowl run. So maybe they kind of build on what they've gotten, but they're going to get everybody's best shot. They're not going to catch anybody off guard this year, especially early on. And then, like you said, they have a very, very tough schedule. I have the Ravens at 1 and the Bengals at 2, and then I think we have the same 3 and 4 with the Steelers and the Browns. But, man, it's a tough division. I think you're going to get really close games from – it's not going to be blowouts, I think, like last year, just because the Ravens are going to be healthier, and Lamar is going to be on – if they can figure it out at wide receiver, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think between Mark Andrews, between Rashad Bateman, maybe even Isaiah Likely, who's looked really good in the preseason, I think they'll be able to figure it out.
It's going to be a fun division. There's a lot of there's a lot of parity this year within the NFL on both sides. I think the NFC is a little more wide open, which we'll talk about. But the AFC, there's probably 10 or 12 playoff teams and only 7 spots.
I think the AFC is a lot more stacked than the NFC. But yeah, and I guess Steelers quickly, I just don't know if their quarterback is going to be able to do it. It's going to be an improvement from Ben Roethlisberger probably, but
was Ben Roethlisberger even out there? It was kind of like watching Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they probably won't have to check down as much. They'll be able to do a bit more in play action and stuff like that because you don't got Ben Roethlisberger, mulling around in the backfield. But
Trubisky's never thrown a pick six as a starter.
Yeah, there might be an issue with Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris, and T.J. Watt all getting a few potentially lingering injuries. So we'll see. But that is our AFC North prediction.
Let's move on to the AFC East, and this is where I'm going to get mad at Patrick, just because we're going to move on from a fan team of his to a team of mine. For my order, I have the Bills at 1. They're a clear favorite ahead of everybody. They might be my Super Bowl pick when we get to it. I have the Dolphins at 2. They probably, within their own division, I know the Bills added a lot, but they probably improved them the most, especially with the passing game. I know there's a lot of jokes and memes about Tua potentially underthrowing Tyreek Hill on every deep ball that he throws, but that offense is going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Tua to mess that up. And I don't mean that in like a Tua can't play, but he's got so many weapons. He's got Mike McDaniel, who's really believing in him. I just think they have too much talent. And then I have Patriots at 3, which I couldn't let my own bias get in the way that this is a New England team that doesn't have many playmakers, but I will argue this 4th place spot when you get to it. And then I have the Jets at 4. It's just how it is. The Jets are improving, but I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. So my order is pretty much the same. I just switched the Jets and the Patriots. I just put the Patriots last because, why not?
I put a sad face on the notes if you didn't see that.
Yeah,
I was very
I
upset
see
about
that, and I'll explain my reasoning in a little bit. But Bills I think are clearly the 1 spot. They're very, very complete as roster-wise. They are going to have to deal with Brian Dable, not being the offensive coordinator anymore, but I think they'll be fine. Dolphins, like you said, Tua has a lot of weapons. Mike McDaniel, basically was able to get his offense in San Francisco working very, very well with a similar style quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, somebody who doesn't have to do everything to win games. He can just get it to their weapons, and they're going to have perhaps the fastest team in the country.
He could utilize Tyreek Hill kind of like Deebo Samuel.
Exactly.
You put him at running back and just hand it to him.
Yeah, exactly. I know the Chiefs did that a little bit with little flip passes and stuff on the goal line. But Jets at 3. So I don't know how confident I am at this, but to try and spice it up a little bit. Patriots, they got to figure out what they're doing with their offensive play calling. Matt Patricia, I don't know if he is going to be the long-term answer there. Maybe I shouldn't bet against Bill Belichick and a second-year Mac Jones, but I'm not overly impressed with their wide receiving core. I think the Jets had a very, very good offseason,
no doubt.
Acquiring some very good picks in the draft. They got Jermaine Johnson. They got Sauce Gardner, who apparently I saw a stat today wasn't even targeted in the preseason.
No, he's got his own sauce line now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sauce is sauce.
if I really don't like Zach Wilson too much as a quarterback, but maybe they get enough out of him. Maybe Robert Saleh gets enough out of him to go maybe like 7-10 or something, and maybe that's just enough to beat the Patriots. I don't know. Let
me tell you something.
Those last 2 spots, you can put them in any order. I'm okay with it, but let me hear it.
Do you remember the 2020 Patriots? The Cam Newton who could barely throw a football.
Yeah, I do.
Their best receiver was a Demir Bird, who I don't think he's even on a roster at this point.
Probably not.
Their best tight end was Devin Asiasi. There was a lot of. This is a Patriots offense that's not great, but is drastically. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Like, this roster can't compete. That 2020 roster was abysmal, and they've got a much improved roster. They got a quarterback. They got somewhat of a receiving core. I might even have to pause at that, but I don't think that they're going to finish last by any means. I think Belichick will get them a couple wins here and there. I am concerned about the play calling, though.
Yeah.
It scares me when I'm hearing reports out of camp that they're splitting reps at play call. I'm like, what is this? We got to figure it out.
I will say, though, the Jets also had a worse roster back then as well. So,
yeah, it could be hand in hand.
Yeah.
Type
so, those last 2 spots, I guess, are kind of a toss-up to me. You could put it either way. The Jets don't have a very good offensive line, so that could be an issue. Also, Joe Flacco, although apparently he throws receiver-friendly balls. So,
hey, Joe Flacco is he elite?
Maybe they get Mike White in there, the return.
Gotta love it. This might be the toughest division here.
That's the AFC East. Yeah, we'll get to the AFC West. Toughest division, I think. Most people probably think. Explain your ordering.
Okay,
because I'm looking at it now and I'm a little.
Yeah, I did an episode on this actually a while back in the spring, and this is my exact order.
Okay.
So the Chiefs are a team that I think that they had one of the quietest off seasons, but they're still probably one of the best teams out there. They're Still going to be able to run the ball with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They added Ronald Jones, who I think is going to add a little bit.
I think low-key is about to get cut.
Is he about to get cut?
Maybe not.
He's got a little talent, though.
But they got Isaiah Pacheco.
They do. To be the best, you got to beat the best. I think Sky Moore is also going to be someone that's going to explode onto the scene.
Okay.
Juju gets a competent quarterback. They got talent, and they still are the Chiefs with Mahomes, with Andy Reid, with Travis Kelce, and their defense always finds a way to improve. If Mahomes can not have the disastrous start that he had last year, this is a team that's going to be able to pick it up immediately. I know that you see Chargers at 4, and you're going to probably have a pitchfork ready to...
I need you to explain that one.
The Chargers, for me, last year, they were a team that should have made the postseason. And I'm not sure if I'm all in on Brandon Staley just yet. There were games like last year, even the Patriots, for example, when they were trying to figure it out, that should have probably been a winnable game. They were up there in the fourth quarter. Justin Herbert throws 2 picks. Texans late in the season, I believe they're 8-6, and they got prime playoff spot, and they get blown out in Houston. There's just a couple games here and there from the Chargers last year. They have all the talent in the world, and it just seems that certain games they fall apart with Staley under helm. Like the Steelers game too, where they had that collapse and they had to come back and all that. I have to see it to believe it. They got a ton of talent, and they could easily. This is a division where the margin of error could be 2 wins, 1 win. So I'm not saying that at the 4th place the Chargers are a bad football team by any means. It's just the margin of error in this division is so tight that if they slip on in a couple games, they could be in 4th place.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you say like having another year of Brandon Staley as a head coach, having another year of Herbert as your QB, they might be able to win those games that previously they couldn't do before?
It's just kind of, I'm just a little skeptical about it. And you can make that argument for Josh McDaniels too, and we'll talk about the Raiders in a second, but that's probably my most controversial pick out of the whole thing. I'm just sticking to what I put out in the summer.
Interesting.
Trying to keep consistent.
Okay.
But I would love to be proven wrong because this Chargers team is loaded. I just need to see them play more complete games when they should.
Okay.
I hope that's kind of a fair explanation on my part.
Fair enough. So for context, Grayson had the Chiefs first, Broncos second, Raiders third, Chargers fourth. I don't know if we said that.
Broncos country.
I have the Chargers first, Chiefs second, Broncos third, and Raiders fourth.
I mean, the last place could be 10-7.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
It's very, 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 very fair to say that. I think the Chargers, they only got better in the offseason. They added J.C. Jackson. They added, is it Sebastian Joseph Day? The defensive
underrated
tackle.
Nose tackle, yeah.
They had issues in their run game. Hopefully that improves it. They have good weapons. They have a solid O-line. You know, they got Derwin James. Hopefully he's healthy. Joey Bosa as well. I just think they have a very complete roster and a very, very talented quarterback. And I think there's a lot of hype with the Chargers, and I think this could be a year where they do some damage. Chiefs, kind of like you said, they didn't add any spectacular names. They added Juju Smith-Schuster. I think it was kind of floating around Twitter and stuff that they're kind of gonna revert back to the early like Andy Reid, Alex Smith days where they aren't, going so heavy 4 wide receiver sets, stuff like that. They're going to kind of revert to
chill out a little bit.
2 wide receiver sets, get the ball to Kelce, get the ball to Juju, run a little bit more. I think they'll be good.
A little more balance from them.
Yeah, I think a little bit more balance from them. The Broncos.
Broncos country.
Yeah, let's ride. Although I don't know how
ride to third
high.
Place for Patrick.
I think they'll be all right. I mean, it's they got to get another year in before they do a lot of damage. Maybe they'll have some hiccups in their first season with a new quarterback, a new head coach. And I think in a division like the AFC West, that could be an issue where they just slip up in a game or two and that causes them to fall. But I think they'll still be all right. They have a solid defense, solid secondary. And then the Raiders.
The Raiders are interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the trio of Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller is perhaps the most most unguardable trio of receiving options in the entire league. However, I think Darren Waller's been dealing with a hamstring injury potentially.
I think so, yeah.
Which could be an issue. Regardless, you still have Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, which, is going to be an elite duo at wide receiver.
Renfro's getting some praise now, too.
Exactly.
He's getting some much-needed, much-deserved credit.
Exactly.
For sure.
But, their offensive line needs some work. they released their 2021 first-round pick, Alex Leatherwood, today.
Yeah, that's part of the Gruden disaster.
Yeah,
train.
That's an issue. Is there? I mean, they have Max Crosby, but is their defense going to be able to hold up?
Yeah.
Is their secondary going to be able to hold up?
Just traded Trayvon Mullen, which I don't understand.
Yeah, he just went to Arizona, so there might be. It's in the AFC West. Like you said, it's fine margins, and you got to nitpick a little bit. So the Raiders were a playoff team last year, and they got Devontae Adams, so they should be trending upwards, but it's just such a tough division that somebody's got to finish fourth.
In a vacuum, where if these teams weren't in the AFC West, like there was like one team in the AFC West, they're all like spread out. Like you could not make the argument that all 4 of these are first place teams.
Yes, exactly.
Like it's that we never had this in the NFL before. I don't think we've ever had 4 teams make the postseason in the same division. I don't think it's possible.
Maybe. I don't know. We'd have to do some complex math, but
that would be insane. But do you want to move on to the AFC South?
Yeah, let's go to the AFC South,
and then we'll get our NFC things in and we'll play it off.
Yeah, let's hear your
okay,
order.
So my number 1 team is the Colts. Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor. I think Matt Ryan's gonna finally be able to breathe in the pocket a little bit. The Falcons have hurt Matt Ryan. So if you're a Falcons fan, I'm sorry. So McGregor, apologies. My second team is the Titans. I'm not sure about Ryan Tannehill, but I think Derrick Henry can do just enough to get a lot of those games. The Jaguars at 3, I think the Jaguars are going to be a fun team to watch. I can see them being a really competitive 6-11, 7-10, where they could potentially win a couple or lose a couple games on the slightest of margins, and you can see a playoff potential in there, maybe like year 3. But Trevor Lawrence, and I see where your prediction is. So it wouldn't surprise me if they made that kind of leap. And then the Texans are one of the worst rosters in the league.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. And one of their coaches, Lovie Smith's an odd hire to me. So even if Davis Mills is a superstar, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I like your prediction. I wanted to spice it up a little bit.
You did.
So hear me out. Every year, there's one team that goes worst to first in their division.
Okay. Every year.
So this year, if you were to like put a gun to my head and tell me who was gonna, or I had to like tell you who was gonna win the AFC South, I would probably pick the Colts. Mm-hmm. But to be a little different, maybe to grab some attention, to get a little clickbait potentially. Soundbite.
We should just title this Jags winning.
I'm gonna pick the Jaguars to win the division. Why not? There's difference. Like I said, there's gonna be a team that goes worst to first. There was the Bears in 2018, Bengals last year, 2017 Eagles. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a very, very good year. He's going to have a stable coaching staff. He's not going to have Urban Meyer
going to bars.
Being a clown. But I think he's going to have a very good year. Doug Peterson is a proven head coach. He won a Super Bowl, just 4 or 5 years ago.
With Nick Foles.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a lot more talented than Nick Foles. They spent a lot of money. Maybe they didn't get quite the deals people would have.
I think Brandon Sheriff at guard was probably their best signing, though.
Yeah, but they spent money and improved this roster. Mm-hmm. So, Trevor Lawrence, second-year quarterback. There's always a quarterback in their second year that just comes onto the scene and becomes an elite quarterback. He's going to have an improved roster and an improved coaching staff. Their division is really up for grabs. Mm-hmm. It's one of the weakest divisions.
I would agree.
And they're going to have a lot of winnable games. I think they're going to be a fun team, like you said. And you know what? Jaguars country, let's ride. But, I got the Colts second, Titans third, Texans fourth.
I love it. I can ride with it. You can convince me.
Why not? Why not?
It would not shock me if that was the team that went from worst to first. I don't see it being like Bears or something like that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that tire fire in a second.
Yeah, but Colts, I think they'll be a very, very steady team. I think they should probably be a playoff team with Matt Ryan coming in.
Jaguars in the playoffs would be so fun.
I think so. And then Titans, I don't know. I think
they're kind of.
I feel like they probably missed their window. I don't know. They're definitely not going to get back to where they were last year as the 1 seed. I think this is kind of the downward trajectory. Ryan Tannehill is a free agent after this season. I don't know if Derrick Henry's going to be quite the same guy after that injury. So, Maybe the Titans surprise me, but I kind of doubt it.
Vrabel always finds a way, but it feels like a team that's stuck around the last 4 or 5 years, and they're just going to start to simmer out a little bit and kind of. Maybe Malik Willis is that spark, though. We'll see.
Maybe
we'll see.
He's had some good moments in the.
I'm not sure yet.
But
so let's do our NFC ones. Let's kind of get the ball rolling on this one here. I think we actually have the exact same order for this one.
Yep. So the NFC North.
We got Vikings at 1, Packers at 2, Lions at 3, and the Bears at 4. I think the Vikings, they made probably one of the better coaching hires of the offseason. We're really going to see what this team's made of. They got a lot of weapons: Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison. They got a lot of firepower, and they got the offensive coordinator that's going to finally utilize that. That's where the league is headed. Exactly. Offensive-minded head coaches are the new. It's like I don't even know how to describe it in a way, but it's like the trend, and it's a trend that's proven to be a successful one. So, and I think the Packers are going to struggle. They're going to, and Aaron Rodgers has had a couple comments on it, not on Joe Rogan, but on a couple comments on how his receivers they can't catch the ball. And I think when Rodgers doesn't trust his receivers, he's either just going to throw it. He can't just throw it up to Devontae anymore, which is going to be an issue.
Yeah, that might be an issue. I mean, I don't know if the Packers are going to struggle necessarily because they have 2 very, very good running backs.
Yeah, they can change it up.
They cut down their roster today, and they only have 2 running backs on the roster.
Is it just Dylan and Jones?
It's just Dylan and Jones. So
did Amari Rodgers make the roster?
He did. So maybe he'll be the new number 1 target for Aaron Rodgers potentially. He has made comments that he's like Alan Lazard is going to get the opportunity to be the number 1.
Oh, good.
So
Alan Lazard.
I think they'll have a solid defense. They've got very, very good corners with Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, and Jair Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
They got a solid defensive line. There might be some questions with that offensive line if Bakhtiari is going to be able to come back healthy, if they're going to have a healthy O-line. But I think, like you said, the Vikings, their offense, I think it's just going to explode. You got Kevin O'Connell coming in. They've talked about how they're going to use Justin Jefferson in a similar role to Cooper Kupp. I think he is going to be very, very good this season.
Gosh.
I think Kirk Cousins could have a very, very good year as well.
A lot of gritties.
Yeah, I think a lot of gritties will occur.
Should we touch on the Lions real quick?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype for the Lions.
It's just not going to really be.
I think it's almost gotten like too much hype. They're now like overhyped.
They're so likable that it's been very
because
hard
of Hard
to
Knocks.
Yeah, it's been hard to criticize them. I love watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Love watching Dan Campbell throw like an F-bomb out every 5 minutes, talking about kicking someone's behind and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna be Detroit tough. I'm like, yes, I want to.
Yeah, I think it just might be a year too early or something.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine though. They'll be fun to watch.
I think they'll be an exciting team
and
to
then
watch.
Number 4,
the Bears.
Hashtag pray for Justin.
Yeah.
Pray for Justin.
All
right.
Pray for Darnell Mooney as well. I like him a lot.
I have him on my fantasy team, so I need him to perform.
Yeah, he's the only receiver on that roster pretty much. So.
Yeah. All right, Patrick. I think. Do we have another similar thing, or are we flip-flopping?
NFC East. No.
Oh.
Okay, so we both have the Eagles at 1.
Yeah, that's.
Cowboys at 2.
Okay.
You have the Commanders at 3, and I have the Giants at 3. So.
Interesting. Controversy here.
Eagles. I'm very high on. I'm very, very high on. I think Jalen Hurts could have a great year.
I think it's not about the offense. I think it's about the defense.
Yeah. I mean, they just signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson today.
Yeah.
He's going to play safety for him. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL. So I think they'll be super, super fun to watch. They got A.J. Brown this offseason, obviously. He's going to, open up the field for Devontae Smith, for Dallas Goedert. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think they're going to be very, very good.
Yeah, Jordan Davis is a freak.
Yeah.
Jacoby Dean was a steal.
I didn't even mention him. Yeah.
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of players you're going to. They did a segment on a podcast I was listening to. It was called the Name the NFL player on this team that surprised you, and they like listed all of them, and they like Hassan Reddick, and I was like, wait a minute, really?
Yeah.
They're like Jarvis Landry's on the Saints, like kind of like things you would have forgotten about, and then when you see it on week 1, you get like shocked about it. So they're informing me.
Yeah.
So I felt a part of that.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Davis might be the best player from that draft potentially. Yeah. And like you said, Jacoby Dean's a steal. Cowboys are gonna Cowboys, So I think they'll be all right. I think their offense will be good, but I think the Eagles are just gonna be better. Giants,
Giants are. They got a really good coaching candidate.
Yeah, I just don't think Daniel Jones is.
It's gonna be that year where they kind of give Brian Daboll some slack when he's trying to figure this out.
They got no receivers as well.
They also have a receiver they're paying $72 million to that doesn't want to be there.
Just don't know what he's doing.
The lack
Kadarius
of
Toney
effort.
can't stay on the field.
It's crazy.
I mean, they got Wan'Dale Robinson coming in, but he's a rookie, so
Yeah.
you know. And then Commanders, I don't know. Carson Wentz is all you really
New
need
team,
to know.
new year. New team name.
Yeah, but you know, Carson Wentz is their quarterback.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we don't need to touch too much on him, I don't think.
The NFC West, we are identical.
Awesome.
Good for us.
Awesome.
Good for us to be.
There's some consistency.
Yeah.
So we got Rams first, 49ers second, Cardinals third, and Seahawks fourth. I think the Rams are just a very good roster again.
Oh yeah, they're gonna dominate that division.
You know,
Cooper Kupp, Stafford, they're gonna probably not be as dominant. I would say.
I would say the same. I think they might have a little bit of regression.
Allen Robinson's gonna be a player to watch though.
Yeah. He's on one of my fantasy teams. So.
The Niners with Trey Lance, that team pretty much rides or dies with him.
Yep.
If he's not up to par with that class.
I mean, they do have Jimmy though.
They do have Jimmy.
The
They
roster.
just signed him, so he could come in and save the team, and then somebody will like overpay for him or something.
Yeah, but it's all Trey Lance. Exactly. It's dependent on how he's going to do. I think he's going to be pretty fantastic. But
I'm excited to see it. Kyle Shanahan will make it work.
Cardinals.
If Kyler Murray's not playing video games that weekend, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
I don't know. I think I was when all that stuff came out, I was really fading the Cardinals and
It's
Kyler
goofy.
Murray. I've kind of stabled out on that a little bit. I think they'll be pretty similar to how they have been.
Yeah.
Around 10-7-ish.
They'll peak in October, late October, early November. They'll just.
I think it's going to be pretty similar.
Yeah. Let's do the NFC South because I feel like the Seahawks were kind of just like.
Yeah.
They're there.
Seahawks are.
Geno Smith.
Yeah, there you go. Pay attention to them in the number one draft.
The only
race.
time I'm going to watch Seattle is if I have someone on their fantasy team.
Yeah, number one draft position.
Yeah.
Race, so.
Bryce Young's next one.
Nfc South. So I kind of want to put the Saints first. I wrote it down that I put the Saints first. I think I'm just going to put the Bucs first, actually.
There we go.
Saints 2, Panthers 3, Falcons 4 for me.
Yeah.
We got the same order again.
Yeah. But the Saints are going to be good this year. The Saints, they're probably not going to win the division, but there is an argument to be had, though, for the Saints because they have had Tampa's number since Tom Brady's been there.
Exactly. And that's, if I wanted to be a little courageous again, I'd put the Saints there.
You can do it,
Dennis
Patrick,
Allen has been there. He's been there forever. He's
Right.
done that. Jameis has got some new weapons. Hopefully Michael Thomas is healthy. Hopefully Chris Olave is solid.
I hope the Saints are good just because of the Jameis Winston content we're going to get. He's going to
I like Jameis a lot.
eat a W. He's going to make some I remember I was completely sold on Jameis. It was after he tore his ACL and he was dancing on his crutches in the locker room. He was going like this. He was like having him like that. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah. And also the Bucs have a first-year head coach as well with Todd Bowles. Again, he's been there, so it might not have too much issue with that. But Brady also retired for a bit.
Is Tom Brady the head coach now?
So maybe there's some turmoil there. Maybe they got
a new OC at Tom Brady.
They also had a lot of change on the offensive line. Yeah. So
there was someone making a joke that Brady's the de facto OC now that Bruce Arians is gone. So Todd Bowles is not going to tell him no.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna pick the Bucs to win. But if the Saints do win, I'll claim it. How about that?
You'll claim it. I'll give you that.
So it's a win-win situation.
Alrighty. Time for the AFC playoffs.
Yeah.
It's January. It's cold. We're ready to go. So for my order is the Bills at 1, the Ravens at 2, Chiefs at 3, Colts at 4, Bengals at 5, Broncos country, let's ride at 6, and rounding off the list with the Raiders. My AFC Championship game is the Broncos at the Bills. I think the Broncos could be that team. They follow that trend. They trade for a quarterback. They sign a superstar quarterback, and that elevates the roster enough to make a deep push. But I have the Bills winning anyways.
Okay, I like it. Very respectable. I think a lot of people have the Bills. I think they're the Super Bowl favorite.
Oh yeah.
At this point,
I appreciate you for saying that.
I'm gonna put the Bills, Chargers.
Okay.
I'll put the Bengals at 3.
Okay.
Jaguars at 4. They'll be the other AFC division winner. Ravens at 5, Chiefs at 6, and Colts at 7. They squeeze in there. AFC Championship, I'm going to put the Bills and the Ravens in there. And I'm going to have the Ravens coming out and getting into the Super Bowl with Lamar.
The Lamar haters are going to go back to their caves.
Yeah.
It's gonna be glorious.
I think the Ravens are going to be very, very good this year. So
that would be a fun AFC Championship game in Baltimore.
It would be. It would be.
My NFC picks: got the Rams at 1. I got the Buccaneers at 2. The Vikings at 3. The Eagles at 4. The Saints at 5. The Packers at 6, and the Cowboys at 7. I got a divisional round matchup, which we thought Tom Brady's last game was Rams and Bucks, and the Rams going back to the Super Bowl to play the Bills. So a kickoff opener rematch.
All right, and who do you have winning?
I'm going to take the Bills.
Okay.
That breaks my heart to say it, but I'm going to take the Bills.
So Bills Super Bowl winner, according to Grayson Mann.
You heard it here first.
My NFC, I'm going to go Rams 1. Vikings at 2. They surprise everybody a little bit.
Ooh.
You get the Eagles 3. I'll put the Bucks at 4.
Yeah.
Maybe, now that I'm looking at this, maybe swap the Vikings and Bucks, but regardless, they're all both division winners. So
yeah.
Then I got the Saints, Packers, and 49ers rounding out the other 3 spots.
Okay.
My NFC Championship, I'm going to have the Eagles and the Rams playing each other. And I'm going to pick the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just very high on the Eagles this year. I think there's a lot of hype around them.
Who wins that Super Bowl? That's crazy. Lamar
Eagles
Jackson
and Ravens
versus Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts has been in that championship game plenty of times.
Oh, my goodness.
But, what do I want to go with?
Does he have the Nostradamus in him? That would be insane.
Dude, this is a tough one. I kind of,
I'd root for the Eagles in that case.
Yeah. You know what? Jalen Hurts is a very good-looking man. And so, because of that reason, let's go Eagles Super Bowl.
Okay.
Let's mark it down.
I like the pick. Very bold.
You can timestamp this, come back to it when it happens. Definitely, because it's going to happen now. Eagles Super Bowl. Let's see what happens.
The city of Philadelphia is like cheering right now.
Yeah, they'll be blasting dreams and nightmares for sure. Just nonstop. In February, so
they're gonna build a statue in your name because you predicted this.
Go fly, Eagles, fly, baby! But that's gonna about do it for this return episode of
We're back.
The Cover 2. We are indeed back. We are so back.
To quote Michael Jordan, he said, "I'm back, but it's 2 of us, so we're back."
Yeah, we're so back. So thank you for joining us on this return episode 30. I want to thank Zach in the back.
Zachary.
As always.
Go.
We want to thank you for tuning in. Like I already said, thank you to Tigervision for providing us this space, providing us this opportunity.
And if you're watching this and you haven't decided on what club you want to join, come join this.
And you happen to go to Clemson as well.
Yeah.
You kind of have to go to Clemson too.
Absolutely. You want to make your own podcast, own show, do what Patrick and I are doing right now and just kind of hang out with Bud and just talk some ball.
Yeah.
Hang out with Zachary.
Exactly.
Join Tigervision. What are you doing?
Exactly. Nice little plug there.
Find us on the Hendricks 3rd floor.
Yeah, Hendricks 3rd floor. But tune in next week. We'll be preparing for the season to start, and that's pretty much it. You got any last words?
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.